you get growth and you get more energy at the same, you get around this trade-off that would otherwise happen in the cell, the growth versus the burning, by importing more glucose. And then from there, you can build as many Lego blocks as you need to grow, but also have enough energy to do it.
Exactly. And that's what cancer cells do. That's why they're kind of cool. Well, it turns out that's what fetal cells do too. Cancer cells and fetal cells are almost identical. And so it turns out that there are three enzymes that basically control whether the cell is going to be in growing mode or whether the cell is going to be in burning mode. And those three enzymes are PI3-kinase, like I just talked about. That's the spigot that lets the extra glucose in. The second enzyme is AMP-kinase, adenosine monophosphate kinase, okay? And that is the fuel gauge on the cell. That basically tells the cell whether your energy replete or energy deplete. And if your energy deplete, then you want to basically build more mitochondria in order to generate more energy. So that is the primary signal for mitochondrial biogenesis. And then the third enzyme is called mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin, which I'm sure you have talked about on your show many, many times because it's really cool. It's where rapamycin works, which, basically alters the immune system and basically people think is the fountain of youth and what have you. And the reason is because rapamycin stops growth. And when you stop growth, okay, less chance for cancer. Unfortunately, when you stop growth, you also stop the immune system, in which case more chance for infection and death. And so this is, of course, the yin yang of why rapamycin is not routinely used in longevity clinics, at least reputable longevity clinics.
So basically, we've got three different pathways in any given cell, and how active or inactive they are relative to each other is going to control the extent to which the cell is going to be more in the growth mode and build new stuff mode, or the make energy in the form of ATP mode. And oxygen content of the environment is really important for regulating the balance of those three pathways.
Right, because the oxygen is needed for the mitochondria. So the mitochondria can't work without oxygen. That is completely true. So it turns out oxygen is one of the organizing principles. But when you don't have oxygen, it's not like your cells die. They just go into fermentation mode. They go into growth mode.
Yeah, because that's just what they have to work with and what they're limited by.
That's exactly right. So that's kind of cool when you think about it. All right. But most of that growth is happening before you're even born. And, people sort of miss that, because you go from a single cell to 7 pounds. Okay, well, that single cell to 7 pounds, I don't know what the infinite amount of increase in volume or in mass that is, but it's way more than going from 7 pounds to 224 pounds. All right. So those are the principles by which growth versus burning occur. You mentioned this question of synchrony. You have these three enzymes, right? PI3-kinase, AMP-kinase, mTOR. They are all kinases.
And so a kinase is just a particular type of enzyme that does what exactly?
Adds a phosphate, kinase, K, phosphate. Okay, so it adds a phosphate. So what it does is it changes the phosphorylation status of other enzymes. That's what it does. And what it's doing is changing how energy is being utilized and what's happening to it inside the cell.